win. A giant castle boy with the ability to attack multiple times could probably scale a mountain, or a tiny small girl with a big bonk stick. Cinque returns with her Lost Chapters, her EX Plus, as well as Snow's EX debut, rework, and EX Plus. Now, if you noticed, I didn't mention that about Cinque's rework. It doesn't exist. Cinque unfortunately did not get a rework upon the return of her Lost Chapters, which doesn't make much sense to me. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. As always, a big shout out to the Tonberry Troop for the lovely infographics that will be displayed in this video. If you are not following them on any of their social media platforms, the ones that I am currently aware of, such as their Facebook and Reddit, be sure to go give them a follow, as they are a wonderful group of people who help out the community a ton. So let's go ahead and get the girl with the bonk stick out the way first and start out with Cinque. Cinque, all she got was an EX Plus. Let's talk about that. She got a recast up, speed up, which is incredible. Those two in itself actually assist Cinque a lot more than you would think. She now gets access to all of her buffs at the beginning of the quest, which is really cool. I like that a lot. She will now actually inflict 3 turns of stun onto the enemies at the beginning of each wave. So she'll be able to start out the quest with 3 stacks on all enemies. This actually will help out a ton, especially if you're going up against dual bosses, as we know, Cinque's debuff and transforming her abilities to the plus variant is focused on the total amount of stacks rather than one of the enemies getting up to 5 in total. As long as all of the stacks of stun equal out to 5, all of her abilities will go plus. So this actually helps Cinque get going right away against dual type bosses and allows her to actually use one ability when it comes to single type bosses to get it going, to get her plus abilities going much quicker. This helps out a lot, allows you to start off with damage and all the goodies of swords. And finally, her EX will actually now execute 3 times, which, I mean, this fucking thing already hit incredibly hard before with 200% overflow. Now that it has this capabilities, if you're sitting near max brave, you'll be able to capitalize on 200% overflow and hit again and hit again. This is insane. It's actually really insane. Now, does this make her important for the Chaos era, though? However, with EX Plus as powerful as hers, unfortunately, no. What Cinque really needed was a rework. Something to help. All they really have to do is remove the low action delay of her abilities. No, they don't need a low turn rate. They don't need a high turn rate. Just keep everything the same. Cinque is still slow without these shenanigans going. So even with the 20% speed buff, it would not have mattered too much to just get rid of the low turn rate in general. This can actually detriment you if you're using the plus form of her abilities in a situation where she might actually push herself behind the boss. That will and always has been an issue with Cinque. I don't think that it was needed. I understand it's important to her character, but she's slow as it is. And even with the 20% recast speed up, it's still not assisting too much with her recast speed. It's still relatively slow. So the likes of Selfie, who's the only character who can assist that, is literally her best friend. Now, it does help out in the long run if you don't have Selfie, because it does come up a little bit quicker, but it still would have been nice if it was an overall great boost to the recast speed. I understand the EX. Her EX is powerful. It does a lot of things. Launch, massive brave battery, and delay, but it's still slow and hard to rely on. And sure, Cinque does get access to a hefty HP attack plus. I think it's a plus or a plus, whichever one. But it's a brave gain followed by a 2-hit single target HP attack with some pretty decent overflow to it. So it's like Cinque did get some pretty nice upgrades with this EX Plus, though, however, the lack of a rework is really what holds this character back. Honestly, if they would have just given her a good rework to really just drop the action delay and kind of just boost the recast speed just a little bit more, just a teeny bit more. You don't need it too much because it is super powerful, but just enough. I would have honestly have said, yes, Cinque is important to Chaos Era. The amount of damage the girl does is just incredible. And she has some pretty sizable debuffs that she does inflict in the terms of the defense dropping speed down, as well as some really crazy launch shenanigans and delay. There is one other weakness that Cinque does have. She does have low hit counts on all of her abilities, so you do want to pair her up with a good battery to really help assist her in keeping her up near her max brave, just to capitalize on the overflow, because she has a lot of that. So unfortunately, Cinque is a no for the Chaos era. While she does hit hard and is a fun character, I'm going to put that out there. A lot of people like our Bonk stick girl. You know, I myself, I would definitely have had her built if I could just pull her EX, but unfortunately, I'm not going to chase it as it is now, as I'm waiting for characters next month. But definitely is a ton of fun to play and utilize. So that is to give credit where it is due. She is a ton of fun to have and a ton of fun to play, but it's not all that important. If you do choose to build her up, though, however, definitely 3 out of 3 here to capitalize on that super dumb powerful EX Plus upgrade. Now let's move on to Snow himself. Snow actually got some pretty nice touch-ups. Lots of it is tied to regaining Brave, reducing Brave damage, and as well as cutting HP damage to the party. This is really cool because while Snow can't really assist against AoE attacks, he can still help mitigate the amount of HP damage taken if they're using an AoE attack. He gets access to a new frame buff, which will inflict every time he uses, I believe it's his ability 1, or as well as every time he does take a hit. Only stacks up to 3 and will not actually go away, as long as you're refreshing it properly, which is really nice. It increases his stats accordingly to his attack and max brave stat. His second skill, I forget what it's called. His second skill will actually now execute a 4-hit single target HP attack that is ice damage, as well as 120% overflow and battery up Snow based off the HP damage dealt. His EX is a 3-hit AoE 50% splash damage attack that will battery him up depending on the HP damage dealt. His EX Plus is pretty powerful, gives him access to most of his buffs at the beginning of the quest, as well as a stack of 1 or 2 stacks, can't remember off the top of my head, 1 or 2 stacks of his stackable frame buff, as well as the rest of his frame buffs that he already had prior, as well as turning his EX into a 3-hit AoE HP attack, followed by a 5-hit AoE HP attack with 80% splash if breaking or attacking a broken target, which is pretty impressive. He also gets access to much better HP and Brave attack pluses, which will give him back some Brave based off the damage dealt. All of these are actually pretty nice upgrades. The big thing that does hold Snow back, though, however, unfortunately, is the lack of DPS in both of his skills. Steel Guard and Frostbite, that's what I'm going to call it. And Frostbite, unfortunately, they don't do a lot of damage. And comparative to other tanks that serve similar roles, the biggest one to contend with is Mr. Zack, who is actually a very aggressive tank. Unfortunately, he's just not stacking up. He does have some nice auras that can be supplied to the party. 50% attack is pretty nice, which is just 10% better than Zack, but unfortunately, the amount of damage that he does just does not compare. The damage that Snow actually supplies is mediocre outside of his EX, which is phenomenal. So really, most of his damage is actually going to be coming from his EX, which is unfortunate because that means all the times that you're waiting for the EX to recharge, Snow is just kind of hitting for some decent numbers. I'm not going to say they're garbage numbers, but they're definitely not good. He definitely does benefit from additional support in terms of raising his max brave to make sure that's as high as possible, as well as increasing his attack stat. All of this will help Snow in the long run, but how is he as a tank? Honestly, he's pretty good. Having the ability to return Brave based off of damage dealt after almost every single one of his attacks is incredible, with a 50% Brave damage cut, as well as the HP damage cut. So most of the time, Snow isn't really going to get broken. He doesn't have any kind of crazy shields or anything like that. but he does mitigate enough grave damage to find himself not really being broken most of the time. If you overextend a little bit or just kind of do things a little weird, you might find yourself in a situation where Snow may get broken, but honestly, it's easier said than done to get broken with Snow. He finds himself out of situations like that fairly often. But with all of it said, if you have serviceable tanks that can actually fulfill the tank role just fine, except Celeste. If Celeste is your only tank, that's not really that good. If you do have other tanks that can fulfill the role, honestly, Snow is not all that important for the Chaos era. Even now, even if you don't have the tanks, he's still not all that important of a character. But if you don't have a tank, I do recommend at least giving him a shot, mostly because tanks are very good in this game. I think they're the most underrated in terms of support classes. That's just me, and I think they're an absolute wonder to have because they help out a lot. But with the increased abilities that Snow got, as well as some pretty good Brave Battery and Steel Guard, Snow is a all-around solid choice of a tank character. Just know that he will need some help with other teammates in order to make sure his damage is overall good. Like I said, without the proper help, it's just okay. You want to make sure you're boosting this man up as best as you can. This way, his main abilities outside of that EX kind of at least do something. And that'll pretty much wrap it up for with this one, guys. Both these characters, unfortunately, not all that important. Snow may be to you if you don't have a tank. Definitely 3 out of 3 him, because this 3 out of 3 is stacked. Didn't forget to mention that. That's where he gets the double executing HP attack plus, or double executing HP attack. But anyways, that's pretty much it on these two. This is actually a very fun banner, to be honest. Both these characters are very fun. It is very satisfying to watch Snow just jump up and slam down with a mighty fist, and just watching Cinque is just funny, honestly. Like, watching her fall over, she's doing these weird and goofy animations. These are just fun characters, to be quite honest. Like, honestly, if you're going to pull in this banner, if they're not favorites, that's pretty much why you're pulling for them. They're just fun and quirky characters who offer some goofy-looking animations and offering a decent bit to the party. That's pretty much the main reason to pull in this banner. They're not meta-defining, nothing like that, but they're fun and a blast to watch and have a good time. So anyway, guys, that'll pretty much do it for me on this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.